starting line to the finish line, and everything in between. Duncan Racing Designs is here to supply you with the livery you didn't know you needed. Let DRD help you look good so you can drive fast. Contact Duncan Racing Designs on Instagram, trading paints, or via email.
And here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh!
The wheel gets burned!
Cabot, where did he come from? Here comes Slack.
A punch from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it at Auto Club.
I'd like to welcome everybody to NCC Sim Racing's BMW Car Club of America race number 2. We're at Donington Park here tonight. It's sure to be a very exciting race. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper, up here in the V-Speed 2 booth. And as we bring you live flag-to-flag coverage here at Donington, let's take you through your track setup and your track map. Donington Park is 2.5 miles with 12 turns, and tonight we're going to have 2 heats with a feature inverting the top 12. So heat number 1 coming underway here as we get number qualifying coming up on the grid right now. NCC Sim Racing has brought you many seasons here on V-Speed 2. They've been exciting thus far. Race number 2, let's get down there trackside right away and take you to your grid. Clint Fletcher next to Dominic Ford, and bear in mind that these inverts will definitely mess with the order. But Dean new line and Adam Cole. Row 3 will be Michael Polilano. Mike in the 6th position. 8th, 7th spot will be Barry Duncan with David Curtis in 8th. 9th position, Colin Gortanic, Peter Rankin, and Atlantic in 10th. 11th spot, Darren Treacle, Mike Nickham. Rounding out the rest of your field will be Matthew Gazinda and Scott Kim. So let's take you down there to the track where we have these guys going around right now. iRacing safety car out there, a rolling start. Mike Nickham, who has not hit the grid yet, will be leading them down the front straightaway. 3 long straightaways on this track. There's an old chicane, old hairpin, a carrying a lot of speed down the front stretch before hitting turn 1. Should be interesting to see how these guys handle the cutoff zones. The sand trap's very close to the rumble strips on this track. If you go off, it's a very short distance between you and losing a ton of time. As you can see, this portion of the racetrack, a hard left-hander into another hard right-hand, and clipping the track there, sending it off wide. You can lose a ton of time and a ton of positions. Mike Nickham ready to lead him off. Aaron Treacle on the outside here. It's going to be Ferrari versus BMW for turn 1. 50 car getting ready to pull off now. It's 14 cars. All the way back to Scott Kim. Safety cars off, and here we go. CCA Sim Racing ready to go. Big wreck here. That's going to be David Curtis going off the track. He gets shot clear out of the grass. Looks like a little off track and maybe some 3 wide here. It's Nickham that got off track on the left-hand side. Came back on, they went 3 wide, and it did not work out well for the 43 of David Curtis. Side by side here with the 77 and the 69 of Fletcher gets by. He loses 2 more spots. Single filed out. Have to go all the way back to Scott Kim. Actually, Pavolano trying to get by. There's a little more contact with Nickham up here. Nickham's going to lose another position. Falls back to 10th position as he gets passed by Scott Kim. Clint Fletcher hot on the tail of Adam Pohl for the 5th spot. 3 minutes, about 2 minutes in actually, to this session for the first heat. And already a lot of shuffling going around. Your pole sitter falls back to the 10th spot. Darren Treacle able to hold it together. He's maintaining the lead, but how about this? Fletcher started back in 12th spot. He is up 6 positions for the beginning of this race with all the chaos that went on. Now Treacle has pulled out 1.7 seconds. And you look off the back of this BMW. Keeping it nice and steady, 1.8 seconds now as they come out of the second to last corners. But Fletcher still trying to chase down Adam Pohl as they come down the front stretch. All the way up to 5th gear, then down to 3rd. A lot of Porsches out here in the top 5. Dominic Ford. It's fitting that he would be driving a Ford. So we have no cameras for the GT40. We can't go on board here. Dominic up 4 positions from where he began this race. Fletcher still trying to chase down Adam Pohl. Has not been able to complete the pass. Closest drive on the track here is between third position back to seventh. Peter Lanik is trying to hold these guys off. And there's the pass. Cole gets around Kennedy and onto the inside for Fletcher. Almost another pass. And look how close they're getting here on these corners, the last corner, as they come down the front stretch. So Peter Lanik still trying to hold these guys off. He's doing a phenomenal job so far. He has pulled out 1.1 seconds. And a car off the track for a second there. That was Fletcher, come out a little wide. And now Dominic Ford peeks to the inside. Ryan Kennedy trying to get back around Adam Pohl. He's all over the rear bumper now. Gonna take the inside here. This is the spot of the track where you can easily go off. They drive it hard into that corner. And a block here on Ford from Fletcher. Ford's still gonna take the inside. Almost gets into the back of Kennedy. He's gonna take the outside here. Inside now. And contact. Ford gets into the side of Kennedy, and Fletcher also clips him, but he loses 2 spots. Falls back to 8th position. Just behind them. Looks like Nickum and Pavolano trying to work and sort out the top 10 here. Racing from 3rd, 4th, 5th position has finally calmed down a little bit. Unfortunately, Ryan Kennedy loses another spot, falls back to 8th. He's behind Dean Thuline, trying to gain back what he lost in the first heat here. So it's been Darren Treacle for the vast majority of these laps. He's led 4 of them, that we've completed 5. That early off track and the trouble we had, sending Mike Nickum and a few others back to the back of the field. We got a pass going on here by Kennedy, getting back around Thuline, but Thuline's going to take that low line on the exit of the corner and get back to his door. Possible opportunity here. He's just going to back out of it. Maybe he'll run down the straightaway now with a great heads-up driving. He's going to carry the speed down this front stretch and get back clear of Kennedy. And Kennedy back to the inside, has to lock up the brakes, almost gets into the back of him. So Fletcher behind Pohl. He's been able to hold off Adam Ford here, or I apologize. Adam Pohl is ahead of Fletcher, and Dominic Ford has been held off by Fletcher for about 3 laps now. After the contact they had with Brian Kennedy, he is trying to recover back past Thuline, and he is now in the 8th position. Mike Nickum in 9th, and Scott Kim with a hot Pavolano all over the back bumper here. Pavolano loses time after that contact. He'll lose 2 positions. Falls back to 13th here. So they're bunching up again. Cars right on top of each other with a 11 minutes left in the first heat. And Darren Treacle is pulling away. 1.7 seconds he's maintained over Colin Kortanik. If I pronounce that name wrong, it could be Kortanik. I have another one I need to rehearse. Got Poblano down. Dietrich, I was told last week. I messed that one up. I butcher names for a living. This is on the relatives right now. Perry Duncan trying to get around David Curtis for the 11th position. 1/10 of a second separating them, and how fast did they come through that quick little S chicane? Less than 10 minutes to go. Kortanik has not been able to shave that lead away. It grows to 2 seconds now as they come through the first corner. Kortanik actually catching up to him. Adam Cole starting to get some company by Fletcher. So a lot of racing left to be done, but these guys try to sort it all out. Your top 5 has stayed pretty much the same through the fastest portion of the track here. Now your leader, Treacle, coming through nice and clean. 1.8 seconds. So there's portions of this track where Kortanik is getting the run, but gives it all back in the last 2 corners right here. See that lead growing back up to 1.8. These guys will run just over 40 miles in this 20-minute section. No cautions, no pit stops. You see the gap growing a little bit each lap, and it's now back over 2 seconds. Maintaining very well. Fletcher not able to get around pole. This is for the 4th position. Not a lot of passing going on. David Curtis has some company with Barry Duncan. And looks like they're going to go around Scott Kim, who went off track here for a moment. Just has a bad corner right here on the instant replay and hits that exit a little late, gets off the rumble strips and loses 2 spots. Duncan has not lost sight of Curtis though, sticking right with him. Coming on through for 7 minutes left. It's still Treacle and 2 seconds ahead of Colin Kortanik. And Peter Lanik in 3rd all over the back bumper now. Looks like there might be a pass for 2nd here within a lap. The back bumper of that BMW in front of him. Driving with your mirror, not something you want to do. Side by side back here for 12th position. Poblano gets it around Scott Kim Mike Nickham has parked it in the garage area for this heat. Dominic Ford in the 6th spot, behind them through line and Kennedy. On the relative here, not a lot going on. The closest drive on the racetrack was Lanik. Hortneck have kind of pulled apart from each other almost a second now as they go into turn 1. Pretty good recovery here for Clint Fletcher. He was involved in some stuff early. He got some contact with Adam Pohl, Dominic Ford, but he's raced his way up almost a second ahead of Adam Pohl, and he's actually catching up to Lanik now. 1.6 seconds separating those two for the 3rd position. Be interesting to see if the last 5 minutes, the 69 Porsche will make it up there to that top 3. And Duncan starting to put the heat back on Curtis. This is for 10th spot as they got around. I believe that was Scott Kemna that went off track in front of them. Mazinda in the 11th spot. Quiet day for him, really. 13th position. Locks up the tires here on the last hairpin. But 13th starting spot, 11th currently. Through this field, it's gotten pretty quiet. 2.3 seconds now for Treacle with 4 minutes to go in the first heat. And the battle heating up here for 2nd position yet again. Tanik trying to hold on to it. Lanik trying to take it away. Fletcher catching up a little bit. Dominic Ford now putting the heat on Adam Pohl for 5th. Trying to cross over in the hairpin to get to the inside. Doesn't work that time. So Ford falls back and loses a little bit, trying to make that move. Gonna have to get that momentum into the next 3 corners. This is your passing zones if you can run this corner well. Plenty of opportunity. That swoop to the inside right there just to keep it down on the rumble strip. Look at the time he makes up by cutting that corner. Now looking to the outside. Adam Pohl might lose 5th position as Dominic Ford looks to the inside. This is the spot where he could pass. Pohl cuts him off and closes the door. Look to the inside again with a peek, and this is the part of the track that it's very easy to go off course. Finding the limits of this car. Gonna take that to the inside, and Pohl goes off the track with a late break. This is just a case of Pohl accidentally locking up the rear tires. He slides all the way off this corner. And a little bit too late on the brakes. Back out on the racetrack, he falls back to the 8th position. So Ford gets around him. He's in the top 5 now. Just continuous pressure. And speaking of pressure, Fletcher has caught up to, for the last minute, your third place driver. Let's see if he can get it done. Not able to get it that time by. There is some other stuff going on this racetrack. Brian Kennedy was on Through Line's back bumper. That's since receded back to 0.3 of a second. Fletcher all over the back of Lanik here. And now the pass in the final hairpin. One more corner left to go. We're going to take the white flag this time by. Final lap around this place. Darren Treacle has looked good all race long in the clean air. Kortanek has been able to hold off Lanik, and Lanik now has to hold off Fletcher for this final lap. Can he do it? Trying to set up the pass, cut these corners just properly. He gets a big run here, but overshoots it a little bit. That's going to give up some time on the exit. Oh, and off the track there for Lanik. Weaving back and forth. It's going to make the outside for Fletcher. He takes blood in the water here. He can sense it as they're door to door. And this is the part of the track where they really don't want to be side by side. But they're going to go through it side by side, cutting the track, and Lanik goes off course and gets a penalty. He's going to lose another spot to Ford. But through the final hairpin, one more corner to go. It's Treacle right here with the finish. Heat number 1, Darren Treacle. Fletcher coming back in third here. As per usual, these guys gonna flip him over. And Fletcher going for a heck of a ride there into the sand trap, getting parked up. Oh, he's stuck. Let's go back and look at some of the finishing. See Dominic Ford back there. We're side by side coming off that final corner. Ford almost loses this position. They door each other. That actually gives Ford the opportunity to maintain that position. But we're getting our warm-up underway. We're going to get your heat winner. You can get a quick word in here with your first place tonight. For some reason, Treacle not being labeled as a winner with the regrid on the warm-up here. But let's see if we can get Treacle in here. Not seeing him in the Discord for heat number 1. We're going to take a quick commercial break while they warm up, and we'll bring you our final feature. You're watching NCC Sim Racing BMW Car Club of America, race number 2 at Donington Park. We'll be back right after this.
From the starting line to the finish line, and everything in between, Duncan Racing Designs is here to supply you with the livery you didn't know you needed. Let DRD help you look good so you can drive fast. Contact Duncan Racing Designs on Instagram, trading paints, or via email.
And here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh!
The wheel gets burned!
Cabot, where did he come from?
Here
comes Zwack.
A punch from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it Auto Club.
Back here, BMWCCA race number 2, and our final feature for 20 minutes, 20 laps. The top 12 have been inverted, so I won't even bother bringing the grid up for you, but it'll be Michael Pavolano and Matthew Gazinda, Perry Duncan, David Curtis, Adam Pohl, Dean Thuline, Brian Kennedy, Peter Lanik, Dominic Ford, Clint Fletcher, Colin Kortanik, Darren Treacle, and Scott Kim. Mike Nickham taking an early retirement here tonight. The rolling start here. The pace car going to pull off. Drone camera provided here tonight. 5E Speed 2, and here we go. SEOMike on the sponsors. DRD, and a lot of lights flashing as we come down the front stretch for lap 1. 3 wide into 1. A lot of side-by-side in the storm out of the whole shot. Down the front stretch. Still some 3 wide going on here for 3rd, 4th position. Adam Pohl, who went off track there in that last lap. 2nd to last lap. Giving up a couple positions. Now trying to maintain this top 5. He has Brian Kennedy all over the back bumper. And a car off the racetrack. That's Perry Duncan. Duncan might have had some help here. We're going to take a look back. Just loses control. Tires are cold still. And it snaps to the right, off course here. Kennedy, Peter Lanik side by side for 4th. The 294 is going to lose that position in the final corner. 2 minutes into this heat, and the final feature. Brian Kennedy coming back to life here. Adam Pohl trying to recover from that last race, that last heat. He's got leaders that have pulled out 2.6 seconds over top. Milano has maintained that lead. He's pulled it out 1 second over David Curtis. And then Adam Pohl in third. Brian Kennedy with Clint Fletcher hot on the tail. Peter Lanik and Dean Thunline. Not a lot of passing since lap 1, but these guys still right on top of each other. Maybe a peek to the inside here. Not just yet. Thunline doesn't have the opportunity. Lanik closes the door and pulls out about 0.4 of a second. Side by side back here, though. Side with Dominic Ford and Scott Kim. Kim's going to take that spot for 9th in the last corner. And Ford's going to try to look to the outside in turn 1. Gets to the door. But Kim has the preferred line here. On the inside now. A great run here for Ford. He's going to stay to the door. And he gets it. And with 16 minutes left, Clint Fletcher, who had a great finish in that first heat, in the 5th spot with Brian Kennedy with a great recovery. And the only car to go off track so far is Perry Duncan. He is back in the 13th position after starting 3rd here today in the final feature. He's got 4 seconds to make up on Colin Kortanik, who finished 2nd in the first heat. Aaron Treacle, our winner of the first heat. Riding on board with him now in the 8th spot. Out of the final corner, hasn't been able to really work his way up through this field just yet. And that shows you the advantage of having clean air for the vast majority of this race. Side by side into turn 1. Kortanik gets around Matthew Gazenda. Now working on Scott Kim. Curtis slowly catching up to the 111, and so is Adam Pohl. We got a pass going on here with Thunline. Gets around Kennedy, who I think went off track here. We're going to get an instant replay and go back. Locks up the tires a little bit here, and there he goes right off course. So Kennedy falling back to the 8th position. So he's led 3 laps. The lead's starting to dwindle down a little bit. Under a second now. Milano has the speed. He just needs to maintain that gap. David Curtis shaving it down a little bit more this time by. On board with the Ferrari 488. David Curtis trying to chase him down. Hasn't really made up much here in the last couple laps. Milano has been able to maintain that, and Adam Pohl now has him under a second for the time being. Clint Fletcher, also a fast driver here tonight. Ryan Kennedy in the 7th or 8th position, rather. He's down 1 spot from where he began this race, and Treacle is up 5 spots, now cracked into the top 10 in front of him. 7th position. Treacle just showing these guys how to get around this place tonight. At the pace he's going, he might work his way into the top 3, and it looks like the lead has been shaved down to under half a second now. Avalano is going to have his hands full very soon. A lot of hungry cars back here. When Fletcher was peeking to the inside down that front stretch. Doesn't look like he's got the opportunity just yet. But Pole trying to hold on to it. The volume on these Porsches is so high. I love the sound of this car, but talking over top of it sometimes is a little difficult. Look at that speed. They're right on top of each other. Here comes Fletcher peeking to the inside now with a good run. Into the hairpin. For the third spot, side by side into the final corner. Fletcher not able to maintain that momentum. Pole's going to hold on for another lap. Does he get the run now down the front stretch? He does not. Back here to Brian Kennedy. We got a car a little bit off track there. In front of him is Darren Treacle. White rims getting a little dirt on him, but able to maintain the speed as he tries to drive his way through this traffic. Another car off the track just in front of him was Dean Thunline. Thunline about where he finished in that first heat, but these cars starting to get a little wiggly. You can see them overshooting the exits of these corners, and that's... Oh, some contact here with Scott Kim off track. This was between Harry Duncan and Scott Kim. And there's a turn, and Duncan already having a bad enough race. Had drove his way all the way back up to the tail end of this field. Accidentally clips the nose across Scott Kim and loses all that ground back. And with only 10 minutes remaining, that's unfortunate because he goes off track again right here. Trying to catch back up to Kim, and there it is. It is again. Unfortunate here for the 8. Back up front here, the lead has stretched back out to 0.6 of a second. Pavolano able to maintain. He has led 7 laps here tonight. Second position, David Curtis has been chasing him since lap 1. And Adam Pole in third has his hands full with Clint Fletcher and Peter Lanik. These guys have maintained less than a second gap between each other. With less than 10 minutes remaining, sizing each other up for that final lap pass. One thing I've noticed is Fletcher is very good at getting runs on certain portions of this racetrack. It's just completing the pass for him right now. He gets another good run, but not able to get the exit speed. Now into the final corner, probably going to take this one a little wide. Try to get the cut on the inside. He does not get it. Cole driving like a veteran out here. Meanwhile, as we talk about this, Pavolano makes a little mistake, gives up a few tenths, and that puts Curtis back in the hunt for the lead. Curtis has pulled away almost a full second over Adam Pole. And he is hungry for this lead. He's been chasing it all race long, waiting for Pavolano to make a mistake. It hasn't happened just yet. Some minor miscalculations here or there on certain portions of the racetrack, but not a big detriment to his lead, and he's been able to maintain it 0.5 of a second now. You can see this group from third back to sixth, starting to accordion back up. Adam Cole leading this group, and Fletcher peeking to the inside again with another great run. And to the final hairpin. This is where he's tried it several times and not able to get it, now opening up the door for Lanik. Lanik not able to get on the outside. How tough is it to pass at this racetrack? You can see him to the inside several different times on Adam Cole, but Cole just able to play defense. So long as he doesn't make the mistake he made with Dominic Ford, he should be able to maintain. It's really what's happened to Adam Cole in this race in the first heat. He lost a ton of positions going off track, made a miscalculation or just a mental mistake, and that's easy to do with someone all over your back bumper. Some great racing here for the third spot. To the inside, in contact. Fletcher clips the inside of Pole, and now he has the position. Pole has to defend it. Lanik also to the inside. And they're going to go side by side into a portion of the track that I just don't even recommend it, and that's through line going sideways. New Line wasn't even really involved in this race in front of him, but these guys lock it up, and he gets one heck of a run. And that's, yeah, he just gets such a run with these guys going side by side through that portion of the track that he has no choice but to lock up the front tires. Now back to 9th position here for Through Line. But Pole holds on for another lap. Pavolano has pulled out back to a second lead with 5 minutes left. Aboard again with Clint Fletcher. A bunch of hungry cars behind him from Lanik, Treacle, Kennedy. Treacle, who is the winner of the first heat, starting to shave away this field. And I mentioned earlier in this race that he would probably be up in this top 3 with 4 minutes left. It's looking that way. Biggest mover of this race so far. And right up on the back bumper of Lanik. Fletcher starting to show some worn tires. If Lanik can make position here in the final corner. Not going to happen this time. Treacle gets to the outside, not the preferred way, opening up the door for Brian Kennedy for a moment there. And through the trees with our drone camera, not the best angle of this racetrack, but as they wrap back around, you can see how crazy this drive has been. Pole starts to pull away now from Fletcher, Lanik, and Treacle, the battle on the racetrack. Milano, your leader. Gives up the time, takes it back. He's had a second lead several different times, but David Curtis has caught him. And in the closing minutes of this final feature, Curtis starting to show some strength. Two Ferraris going to duke it out. They have pulled away 2.3 seconds over Adam Pohl. We're approaching crunch time. Who has the tires left? Little peek to the inside in turn one, not there. And Curtis is going to set back again, go back to the drawing board. Got some passing back here between Thuline, who went off course a moment ago, and Kortanik, I apologize. The 32 has been fighting him off now for about 4 laps. This is the nose of Peter Lanik, who's falling back to 5th spot. He started 8th, so he has gained some position still, but he was a little bit higher up in 3rd. And in that final heat, or in the first heat, he was one of our top 3 for a moment there. How about this drive by Pavolano to maintain this lead? He's got the pressure on him now with Curtis all over the back bumper. Curtis just not able to find the spot, the hole here. Pavolano doing a great job of taking away any opportunity. And a great run down the front stretch. Minute 29 left. Most likely going to see the white flag next time around. And he overshoots the corner here and gives up all that time. Now Adam Pohl into the picture. So for Curtis to overshoot that corner, that really kills the run, and Pavolano looking like the favorite to possibly win this race, unless he makes a mistake the same way that Curtis just did. It's probably going to go to the 111 here tonight. Adam Pohl has caught up to Curtis now for the 2nd spot. And trying to find the proper camera there through that section of the track. I apologize, but Pohl makes a mistake, and now Curtis, or Fletcher rather, to the inside in the hairpin. Pohl able to hold him off. Back to the inside down the front stretch. White flag in the air now. Milano, 1.7 seconds ahead of David Curtis, Adam Pohl, and Clint Fletcher. Gonna duke it out for the 2nd spot. And what a drive here for the 111. He's been able to hold off a very hungry David Curtis, and now Curtis under fire. They're stacking up behind him. Can Curtis hold off the hard-charging Adam Pohl? And Clint Fletcher down to the inside, peeking back and forth, doesn't have the run, and through this chicane, this is the portion of the track where the 111 and the 43 could make a mistake and give the win. But it's not going to happen. Through the final hairpin, side by side. He does make the mistake on the exit, and Adam Pohl takes over 2nd position. Clint Fletcher now to the inside. But in the final corner, it's the 111. Michael Pavolano going to win your main feature. And side by side, just behind him, Adam Pohl holds off and takes 2nd position. 3rd spot going to Clint Fletcher. And they finish Pavolano clean off the racetrack. see if we can get a good angle of this before he goes completely out of the stadium. He does not. So iRacing going to clip him out before we even get to that point. But yeah, it was a good one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Post-race interviews with your top three. You're watching the BMWCCA race number 2 at Donington Park on V-Speed 2. We'll be back right after this.
From the starting line to the finish line, and everything in between, Duncan Racing Designs is here to supply you with the livery you didn't know you needed. Let DRD help you look good so you can drive fast. Contact Duncan Racing Designs on Instagram, trading paints, or via email.
Back here, NCC Sim Racing, the BMW Car Club of America race number 2 has concluded, and we're down here in the pits with your third place finisher. That's Clint Fletcher. And Clint, we saw you fighting off David Curtis. You got to the inside. You were trying to chase Adam Pohl in that final 2 corners, but you kept the pressure on him. Curtis makes a big mistake after falling off from Poblano, and you just right place at the right time.
Yeah, good race overall. The first heat, not the feature race. Unfortunately, Adam got to slow down, so he gave me that pass, but our battle was able to continue in heat 2, and it definitely was a lot of fun trying to chase him down, trying to figure out where to pass him, and overall, just a lot of great fun.
It looked like this racetrack really favored the guy that had the clean air, Poblano, who started in the back, versus we had Treacle, who won the first heat. He had clean air in front of him the entirety of this race. What kind of difference did it make to not have to work through traffic and have that clean air?
Well, I definitely think following so close to Adam that my tires definitely were hurting me in the later stint. Clean air, I mean, you can just focus on you, especially if you have a gap behind yourself. Clean air is just the way to go. So whoever gets out front in the beginning is definitely going to do the best overall.
Well, Clint, you had a great race, and it looked like the battle between you and Pohl never really subsided, but coming home third here in race number 2 in the main feature, do you have anybody you'd like to shout out for tonight's performance?
Yes, of course, you guys at V-Speed for putting on the broadcast and commentary makes watching it back a lot of fun. Harry for the liveries, as always, and then Adam, Dean, Brian, those guys for hosting. Scott, those guys for hosting this race series.
We appreciate your time, Clint. We hope to talk to you next week. And outside of that, it's probably a track that I don't own yet, so I don't even know where we're going. But I'll probably see you up here in the broadcast booth again soon.
Thank you. Have a good night.
So there's Clint Fletcher, your third place finisher here tonight at Donington Park. And we are going on to our second place finisher. That would be Adam Pohl. We're down here with Adam Pohl in the pits. And Adam, we saw the big mistake by David Curtis, and you and Clint Fletcher battle out. Those 2 Porsches were right on top of each other for 90% of the racing that we did here tonight. How fun was it to battle out and almost look like you guys had the same line the entirety of this race?
Yeah, it's a really hard track to pass on, so I was glad to be ahead of Clint and not behind him, because I think he would have drove away from me. Man, he kept the pressure on the whole race, and yeah, I was glad to hold it, a few times when he did get the run on me, but that was fun. But it was I was glad it was over too.
Yeah, I want to go back. You made that mistake in the first heat, not to put you on the spot, but did it just lock up on you? Was it a late break? What happened there? Off
Yeah,
track.
Dominique was all over me just like Clint, and I was like, oh, I got to go a little deep here and hard, and it was instant lock. Maybe the tires were worn, but he definitely got me there. That was the classic. That's what you hope for when you put the pressure on, is that the guy makes a mistake, and I definitely made a mistake, but I said right away, I'm like, well, this will put me a little further up the grid for the second race. So that kind of it didn't work out too bad in the end.
Yeah, in the right place at the right time there to get to the inside of David Curtis, who made a mistake as well in the last 3 corners. You got to the inside and through the hairpin. You and Fletcher both going by for that
Yeah,
top 3 position. And I mean, Adam, it was fun to watch. You guys looked like veterans out there. Your defensive driving, the way you held your line, it was good. It was good stuff.
yeah. Well, Clint's fun to race with, and I held him as tight as I could. Some guys, if you do that, you're gonna get a car in the door sort of thing. But Clint's super fair, and that made it great. And to Dave's credit, we were all pushing that chicane as hard as we could, and he got hit with a slowdown right at the end there. So that's why we slipped by. So yeah, it's too bad because he drove a really solid race and deserved to be up here.
I can agree on that. David Curtis looked really strong, stayed in second all the way to the last 3 corners. So that's a tough break, but nonetheless, Adam Pohl, second place finisher here tonight in the main at Donington Park. Do you have anybody you would like to thank?
I'll just shout out Perry Duncan Racing Designs again. All the cars are shined up, looking good, and that's thanks to him and his creativity. So yeah, it was great. Thanks a lot.
Adam Pohl, second place finisher. Appreciate your time, and we got one more guy to talk to, so we're gonna send you back.
Good night.
So our final driver, we're down here, busting open. Oh, we got the grid up there. Wrong button clicked. Here we go. I've rehearsed it a million times. Pavolano getting it in victory lane. I tell you what, you had the pressure there from Curtis for, I'd say, every bit of 12, 13 laps, and somehow you would stretch it out to a second lead, and then it would go back down to 3/10. It just back and forth dominoes. But you're able to hold him off and get the win here in the main. How do you feel right now, Michael?
Yeah, no, it feels great. Thanks, Bradley. It was a lot of fun, and like you said, David was just on it, and he kept me honest. That's for sure. It was just too bad he lost it at the last lap there, but yeah, it was close. That was fun.
When we talk about the clean air, I mentioned it with a few other drivers that were in traffic most of the night, and you were one of them in the first heat. How much of a difference did it make to be out there up front and just drive your own car and not have to worry about anyone in front of you?
Oh, big difference. Yeah, I mean, even with the pressure at the back, there's always an advantage when you're not trailing anybody or you're not fighting anybody on the front. So, yeah, I mean, that's the ticket. Try to get ahead and just keep pushing, right? I was just making sure that I kept it clean because I know this track, one small mistake, it bites you, right? So.
Oh yeah, we saw minor mistakes there with David Curtis apparently getting it off track and getting a penalty. That's what allowed him to lose those 2 spots on the final 2 corners. So, yeah, it only takes one. It really does, and that can be applied to a lot of things in life, I do believe. So,
That's true.
so I mean, Michael, congratulations on the win here tonight. That Ferrari looked good. Congratulations all together. And race number 2, do you have anybody you'd like to shout out?
Yeah, I mean, thanks to you guys, you and Adam, for putting up a good broadcast as always. Always fun to watch it. Thanks to the admins, Scott, Brian, Dean, and thanks to everybody just comes out week in and week out. These are a good bunch of guys, as you can see. The racecraft gets better and better every week, and it just helps us to become better drivers. So thanks to all those guys.
I think you should thank the guy that built your roll cage in that Ferrari as well, because you got hit out of the track. They're still picking up pieces of that Ferrari.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a fun, wreck fest at the end there.
It always is. But Michael Pavolano, thank you for your time. We appreciate it, and we look forward to having you back up here in the broadcast booth as soon as possible.
That's awesome. Thanks, Bradley.
So the feature winner here tonight, Michael Pavolano getting it done, and that brings us to the conclusion of race number 2, BMW Car Club of America. If you guys have not hit the subscribe button yet, make sure you do so. Never miss a single race live here on V-Speed for NCC Sim Racing. We're going to take you through your final finishing order right now. Show those results for the final feature. Adam Pohl is going to bring it in second. Clint Fletcher in third. David Curtis, with the unfortunate mistake in the off track, is going to bring it home in fourth. Peter Lanik in fifth, with Darren Treacle in sixth, our Heat 1 winner. Seventh spot will be Brian Kennedy, with Dean Thuline in eighth. Ninth will be Colin Kortanik, and rounding out your top 10 is Matthew Gazinda. Harry Duncan, with a couple different off tracks, able to recover back to the 11th position. Had a rough race here tonight. Scott Kim in 12th. Dominic Ford, remember, he finished pretty well there. Must have had an issue that we missed here tonight, finishing back in 13th. And Mike Nickham taking it behind the wall after heat number 1 is going to bring it home in 14th. So again, that concludes tonight's race. The BMW Car Club of America, NCC Sim Racing, going to be live again at 8:15 Eastern Time, 8:15 p.m. on V-Speed 2 next Thursday. We hope you can join us then. Until then, this is me, myself, Bradley Cooper, and for Adam Baker and everyone that puts on the show, we thank you for watching tonight's broadcast. We'll see you next time. Take care and have a great weekend, everybody.
And here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh!
Milo gets burned!
Cabot, where did he come from? Here comes Zwack.